Hello! Well, it's been a very long time since I did a Living Simply video, and I thought one was overdue because there's something that's a little bit topical at the moment, and I wanted to talk about that this week. Now, a lot of people embrace the minimalist lifestyle, living simply, call it what you will, including myself and a lot of my friends, and recently we've been discussing something that people haven't really considered or they don't really talk about much in YouTube videos or in blogs and things. That's what I want to talk about today, and that is quite simply is what my friends and I call the Nahuatl Syndrome. Let me explain what that is. Normally the reason that people will embrace a minimalist lifestyle is because they're overwhelmed by something in their life. They may be overwhelmed with all the stuff they have, with having too many things to do, too much stuff in their life, too many commitments, and they want to strip that away and live more simply, and that's becomes a mission for people. It becomes a big project, and that project could be something quite big, like moving out of your house, selling all your furniture, selling everything, buying a van and taking off and hitting the open road. Or it could just be a weekend where you clear out the garage. But generally there is a project involved. And what I wanted to mention is that most people don't look beyond the project. So I have a friend who is looking at moving back to the UK into his flat after 25 years. In his mind he was building up the project. Oh yes, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to decorate it this way, and I'm going to enroll myself on this course, and I'm going to do that. And I said to him, when you've done all that and we've had all the excitement of moving you back to your flat, we've decorated it and it's all great, and then the last person leaves and you close the door, then what? And that is what we call the Nahuatl Syndrome. You've created this big project and you've seen it through, and then what? Now, a lot of people out there will say, oh well, that now means that you can concentrate on the things that are important to you. And that's all well and good up to a point, but we all know that you can have too much of a good thing. Now, I realized in my own personal circumstances that what I was doing was I was either driving, filming, engaging on social media, or editing or writing. And that's all I was doing. And then if I had any spare time, I would fill it by filming something or taking a photo or going on my phone, social media. One thing, I think one of the byproducts, not just of minimalism, but of this generation, is addiction to smartphones. And I will hold my hands up and I fill way too much of my time when I'm not working looking at my smartphone. But generally, people who live simply, embraces minimalist lifestyle, end up throwing themselves at their work. They're doing something creative like I am, and they love doing it like I love doing it, and you end up, that's all you end up doing. Because if you don't do that, you put the computer away and then you think, now what? Because you've got nothing else, because you've got rid of everything else. And that is something that I just wanted people to be aware of, this now what syndrome. It could be after a project, or it could simply be you've stripped away all the distractions to focus on what you want to focus on. And the trouble is, when you don't want to do that anymore, when you don't want to look at a screen anymore, you don't want to go outside and do whatever it is your passion is, now what? And that is really what this is all about. It's just to be aware of that now what syndrome. So you sell everything up, you sell your house, you move into a van, you hit the road, and generally after about 6 weeks, that's how long it takes to adjust to the lifestyle. After 6 weeks, you will probably wake up one morning, look out at another beautiful beach, and then just think, well, now what? How am I going to fill my day? What am I going to do? And how I've got around that is what I want to talk about in the next part of this video. Okay, so having discussed the now what syndrome, this is the way that I particularly got around it. I noticed towards the end of last year, I was going around Spain and Portugal on a touring trip, and it was good fun, but all I did was work. And if I didn't work, I had a migraine. That's all I did. And I thought I need to do something else. I went out to the Ato Hebrides in January to go and get some downtime, and what was interesting then is I thought, okay, what do I enjoy doing most? And what I really enjoy doing most is taking this dog, Dougal, who's off screen, he's a bit shy. I enjoy taking him out on long walks. That's all well and good if, number one, I'm in full working order, and number two, it's nice weather out there to take him. But generally at 5 o'clock on a January evening in North Uist, when the rain is horizontal, you don't want to take the dog out. And secondly, I've got an injury that's re-inflamed in my knee from a kite surfing injury. It means I can't walk very far at the moment. So I'm thinking, well, what else can I do? It was at this point that YouTube offered me up a video, and it was by a channel called SDJR7F88, rolls off the tongue, and a lovely guy called Callum, and he had built a micro model railway layout in a wrapping paper box. I'd never seen anything like this before. I was hooked. I will link to that video in the description below this one. And I thought, what a fantastic idea. So one thing led to another, and I thought, do you know what? Why don't I build a model railway layout in a box that you can take touring with you in a caravan or a camper van? So that's what I set my mind to. I got my friend Ken to make up some boards for me that would stack into a box, and my plan is to build a little layout where they can bolt together. And what I'm loving about getting back into model railways is the fact that you can do so much of it without a screen, and it's not just about grown men playing trains. This is very topical at the moment, as a lot of you will know, because model railways have been in the news again this week in a story that started off as a tragedy and has ended up as a wonderful story, and that is, a lot of you will know about the Market Deeping Model Railway Club that had all their layouts vandalised, smashed up by vandals last weekend, and it provoked so much public outrage that a Just Giving page was set up, and they've raised at the moment £80,000. I wouldn't be surprised if it's 100,000 by the time you watch this video. So once again, good has triumphed over evil. But what's been so interesting is the media coverage of this has shown the folk that were affected as, quite rightly, as gentle folk. That was the adjective that the media used about model railway enthusiasts. They were just gentle folk going about their hobby. Perceptions have changed, and I think people now realise that to take up a hobby like model railways, to get over that now what factor, is something that's far reaching. It's not just grown men playing trains. And what I've so much enjoyed recently, as a lot of you will know if you watch this channel, is researching Scottish railways. At the moment we're at Brora Caravan and Motorhome Club site. Fantastic beach over there for Dougal. So when we're not taking Dougal for a walk on the beach, I've been into Brora and been looking at the goods shed there, because I think that would be great to model. I've done some creative projects already where I've brought on some old wagons that didn't have roofs, and I've mixed my own paints. I got some cheap paints in an art supply shop, £4 for the lot. Mixed them all up, got the correct shade of brown that I wanted, painted up these wagons. I've restored an old Hornby coach of mine from the 1970s. It's been terrific fun. It's taken a bit of a backseat now because it's summer, lots of things to do up here in Scotland. But it's been terrific, and I've so enjoyed it, and I almost cannot wait for the clocks to go back again in the autumn, so there's longer evenings and I can spend more time building that little micro layout of mine that will hopefully carry around. We'll see how that progresses. But what comes with this hobby is stuff. I've now got 2 or 3 boxes of stuff: trains, track, paints, soldering iron, tools, all this kind of thing, paintbrushes, glue, spirits, and it all takes up space. So I still need that stuff. So this is where you need to get that balance right between minimalism and living and having a hobby, and not just burning out on work. You need that hobby. So therein lies a little bit of a battle of stuff and hobby, but hopefully as you bounce from one side to the other, you will get to a nice path. So if you're interested in the model railway side of things, I have actually made a video of a couple of the running sessions I did back in the Missouri I was borrowing. So if you want to look at those, I won't launch it as a public video. It's just a little video I made on my iPhone, but I'll link it in the description below. So it'll be a private link, but it will be available in the description below. You can have a look, if you're into model railways, of how I had the trains running around the Missouri that I had. Here in the camper van you might think, well, there's no space for a model railway. Aha, maybe there is. It would be really nice to get the model trains out, wouldn't it, Dougal? But there's no room, is there? I mean, where on earth are you going to put a track? There. Or is there no room, Dougal? Is there no room for a model railway? Ha ha! Who said there was no room for a model railway in this van? So as you can see, at the moment I'm just playing trains, but I'm really looking forward to building a layout. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that. Just a little thing I wanted to say just to make you aware of this what now syndrome and what can be done about it. Obviously with me it was going back into model railways. With you it could be something else. It could be meditation, it could be reading, it could be knitting, it could be painting, anything like that, as long as it doesn't involve a screen. And it's something creative you can do indoors, pick up, put down whenever you like. But all those things, well, maybe with the exception of meditating, all those things take stuff. You know, you need books to read, you need wool and stuff to knit, you need paints and paper and everything to paint. So it still takes stuff, but that's where finding that balance is really important. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Something a bit different this week, but it's just something I felt I wanted to say and a bit topical with the model railways being in the news this week. As ever, if you enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you don't already. It just leaves me to say from Dougal and from me, thanks for tuning in. There, Dougal, would you like to come and see your public? You going to come say hello to everybody? Come on, there. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Did you enjoy that? Oh, did you enjoy that? Yes, did you enjoy that? Oh, thank you. Yes. Should we get the trains out? Yeah. Should we get the trains out? You like the trains, don't you? You like. Yes. He never smiles.